Now this is another small topic in the fifth module, pipe appurtenances. Mostly you will get short notes, sketches and short notes they will ask in the exam. Now there are many accessories or appurtenances which are required in the water distribution system, mainly for maintenance, for controlling the flow of the water, for preventing leakage, etc. So these devices are called as pipe appurtenances. So they are mainly required for maintenance, for cleaning purpose, for controlling the flow of water, for preventing leakage, etc. Now the distribution pipes are provided with many of these pipe appurtenances or accessories so as to make the distribution of water simple, easy and effective. Now what is the necessity of having these appurtenances in the distribution network? The main purpose of the water supply appurtenances or the pipe appurtenances is to make the distribution of water easy and effective, and to avoid wastage and leakage of the water, to change the direction of the flow of water in the pipeline, to make the efficient use of water, to control the flow of water in opposite directions in the pipe, to regulate the flow of the water. So these are all the things what you can do using these appurtenances. So therefore these appurtenances are compulsorily required, or they are necessary for the proper functioning of the water distribution system. Now there are some requirements of these pipe appurtenances or water supply appurtenances. They should be, the appurtenance what you are using, it should be strong, it should be durable, should be economical also, it should be resistant to corrosion, it should have resistance to internal pressure of the water, because water supply pipes, they are always flowing under pressure, and the appurtenance which is attached to the pipe should be resistant to this internal pressure, and the appurtenance should be easy to remove and easy to repair, and it should not be affected by any chemicals or acids. Now the first, in your syllabus they have given two important types of appurtenances. One is the valves, second is the hydrants. So first let's see the valves. Now these are very important in the distribution pipelines, and valves are mechanical devices that control the flow and pressure within the water distribution system. In waterworks practice, to control the flow of the water, to regulate the pressure, to release or to admit air into the pipe, to prevent the flow of water in opposite direction, valves are required. So valves can do many things, right? They can control the flow of the water, they can regulate the pressure, they can release or admit air into the pipe, they can prevent the flow of water in opposite direction, etc. So valves can do many functions, and depending on what function the valve is doing, you have various types of valves. So the functions of the valves is stopping and starting the flow of the water, to increase or reduce the flow, to control the direction of the flow, to regulate a flow or process the pressure. So a lot of things can be done using these valves. So hence valves are also an integral part of the water distribution system, and these are the most important appurtenances required for maintaining the water distribution. Now let's see what are the different types of valves. Now depending upon the location of the valve and the function of the valve, you have many types of valves, like sluice valve, which is also called as the stop valve, check valve, also called as the reflux valve, air relief valve, also called as the float valve, drain valve, also called as a blow off valve. Then you have zero velocity valves, cover valve, ball valve, right? So now let's see one by one. First one, most commonly used valve is called as the sluice valve, also called as the stop valve. Now these are also known as gate valves, and these are generally used to control the flow in a pipeline. Right, whenever some repair work is going on or whenever you want to stop the flow of the water, these valves are used. Now these are made up of cast iron having a brass or stainless steel mounting at its end fitted with a pipe. A circular wedge shaped disc, this is a circular wedge shaped disc which is attached to the end of a threaded spindle. This is a spindle they have shown here, and there is a handle here. Threaded spindle, or also called as a stem, passing through a gland. Now this is connected to a handle by means of a threaded spindle, and by rotating this handle in the clockwise direction, you can raise this, and the opening will be the opening will become bigger so that water can flow in it. And when you rotate it in the anti-clockwise direction, the spindle is going to lower and the valve is going to close the pipe and the water will be stopped. Now this is mainly for controlling the flow or regulating the flow. So you can completely stop the flow of the water in the pipe, therefore the name stop valve. Now this is the actual photograph of a sluice valve, and these stop valves or sluice valves they are cheaper. These are the advantages, you can say. They offer less resistance to the flow of the water as compared to any other valves, and the entire supply system is divided into blocks by providing these valves at appropriate places. And even in a straight pipeline, these valves are placed at 150 to 200 meter interval, and whenever two pipes are intersecting, these valves are fixed at both sides of the intersection. And if it's a continuously very long stretch of pipe, you can even place these at a distance of about 1 kilometer, especially when the pipeline is from the water treatment plant to the city. Very long pipes are there. Every kilometer you can have these sluice valves or stop valves. Next is check valve or reflex valve. Now check valves, these are two types: swing check valve and lift check valve. Now let's see, the most commonly used check valve is the swing check valve. This is the sketch. This is a sketch of the swing check valve. This is the photograph of the swing check valve, and this is the photograph of the lift check valve. Now these are also called as non-return valve because they allow the water to move only in one direction. They will not allow the water to return back, so therefore the name non-return valve. A reflex valve is an automatic device which allows the water to flow in one direction only. The swing type of a reflex valve is widely used in practice. When the water moves in the direction as shown here in the sketch, the direction of the flow of the water, when the water is moving in this direction of the arrow, the valve is going to swing or rotate around a pivot here. There's a pivot here, and is kept in an open position mainly because of the pressure of the water. Right, the force of the water, the pressure of the water is going to keep the valve open, and when the water stops, the valve will fall down and close the opening. So therefore this valve prevents the passage of water in the reverse direction like this. So it will not allow the water to flow back. So check valve. Now because there is a swinging action here, this type of a valve is swing check valve. Now there is another type of a check valve which is called as the lift check valve. Here, because of the pressure of the water, the valve is lifted up, and when the water ceases, when the water stops, the valve will fall down and closes the opening. So therefore it is called as lift check valve. The opening and closing is because of the lifting of the valve, and here the opening and closing is because of the swinging of the valve. So therefore the name swing check valve and lift check valve. Now next is the air relief valve. Now this is also an important valve in the water distribution system. In very long pipes, air accumulates at high points of the line, which will interfere with the water stream, and it can cause blockages. In such points, air walls are provided, and these walls have one float chamber. This one is called as the float chamber, and there are air openings at the top. There is an opening here, air opening at the top, and the valve are connected to the main. Right, this valve is connected to the water main here. This is the water main, and here there is a connection, and this is the float chamber. So this valve is connected to the water main, and there is continuously water flowing under pressure, so water will also rise in this, and the float chamber is normally remains full of water, and when air starts entering into the into this float chamber, the air is going to get filled up in this, and because of this the water level falls down. The water level will come down, and because the water level comes down, the float will also come down, and when the float comes down, here you can see this is the position of the float. When it comes down, there is an opening here which will be opened. The float is going to close the opening when it is full of water, and when air enters into the float chamber, water level falls down, and because the water level falls down, the float will also come down, and the opening will be visible. Here you can see. So the air can escape. The air can escape like this, right? So this is how the air relief valve is going to operate. When air fills into the float chamber, the water level goes down, and the float will fall, thereby opening the air opening at the top, through which it escapes out. So the air is going to escape out like this. Once again the chamber gets filled up with water and takes the float up, and then once again the opening is going to get closed. So this is a continuous process. Whenever air enters into the chamber, this float is going to come down, air is going to be released. So air relief valve. So this is also required for the smooth movement of the water and the proper functioning of the water distribution system. Now this is the actual picture of a air relief valve. It consists again a cast iron chamber. This is the float, this is the lever which is lifting the float up and down, and this is the opening through which the air is going to escape out. So this is a good photograph of a air relief valve. Now there is one more blow off valve, or also called as a drain valve. Now these are also called as washout valves, and they are provided at all the dead ends. Now there are many dead ends in the water distribution system, especially if you remember the different types of layouts of the water distribution system. Dead end method, there is one method called as a dead end. So in that you see there are many dead ends which are formed, and at all these dead ends these drain valves or blow off valves are provided, right? So this is going to drain out the stagnant water which has accumulated in the dead ends, right? So these are simple valves which can be operated by hand. They are ordinary easily operated by the hand by moving this handle, and by moving the handle in the right or left direction, you can open and close the valve, and the dirty water which is stagnant at these dead ends will come out. So this is many times used for cleaning. Next is called as the scour valve. Now these are also similar to the earlier one, the blow off valve or the drain valve. These are similar, and more or less the function is also same. These are also ordinary valves which are operated by hand. This is the handle which is rotated to open and close the valve, and these are placed at the pipes which are located at the lower elevation, so in the depression in a pipeline. So mud, silt, etc., which is collected in these low pipes can be removed easily by opening and closing of these cover valves. So cover valves also are used to drain out the stagnant water. Next is the bib cock. this is the usual, old type of tap. These are water taps which are attached at the end of the water pipe, from where the people collect the water. So this everyone has seen the consumer point, the end of the pipe. In your house you have these taps, called as bibcocks. These are available in various different designs, and this one figure is a very typical old type of a typical bibcock. It is operated with the help of a handle, and this handle is turned, and when you turn the handle, this is a spindle which is threaded. It is the lifted up, and the opening here, you can see there is an opening here from where the water is going to enter into the bibcock, and from here it is collected. So this is how the tap is going to work. There are nowadays you have many types of push type of bibcock, or many other types of new taps have come, right? So this is a valve, simple valve, which is provided at the end of the water pipe from where the people are collecting water. Now this is another important accessory or an appurtenance called as fire hydrant. Fire hydrant is an outlet which is provided in the water pipe for tapping water, mainly for firefighting or extinguishing the fire in case whenever such an incident occurs. Now along the main roads, these fire hydrants are located at every 100 to 150 meter apart on the roads, and even at the junction roads. Now usually in big cities where the chance of occurrence of fire is more, where highly congested area, industrialized area, very thickly populated, and a lot of commercial buildings. So in such areas these fire hydrants are located, and this is the main water pipe which is there, and this is the ground level. The water pipe is below the ground level, and on this the fire hydrant is fixed, and the major part of the fire hydrant is projecting up above here. This is the outlet from where the water is going to be used for the firefighting. The more detailed figure we will see in the next slide. There are two types of these fire hydrants. One is called as the post fire hydrant, another is called as the flush fire hydrant. So let's see what are these. Now this is the actual photograph of a fire hydrant. These are two fire hydrants which are post fire hydrants. Now there are some requirements for a good fire hydrant. Fire hydrant should be cheap. It should be easy to connect with the hose or the motor pump, so that you can force the water on the property where the fire has occurred. And the fire hydrant should be easily detectable, and it should be reliable. And fire hydrant should function properly and should not go out of order during operation, because we are operating these fire hydrants whenever there is a event of fire. So in that time, if it goes out of order, lot of damage can take place. So that is why the main requirement, it should be very reliable, and it should not go out of order during operation, and it should permit undisturbed flow of water when being fully opened, right? As long as the fire is there, you should be able to get undisturbed, uninterrupted flow of water till you extinguish the fire. So that is another important requirement. Now these are two figures of the two types of fire hydrant. This is called as the post fire hydrant, the name here, post fire hydrant. This is called as the flush fire hydrant. Now you can see the first difference. What you see, this is the ground level here. This is the ground, and the major portion of the fire hydrant is above the ground, and here this is the ground level. Here the major portion of the fire hydrant is below the ground, right? So the main difference between these two fire hydrant is, the post fire hydrant remains standing above the ground like a post, almost about 0.9 to 1.2 meters above the surface of the ground, above the road level. And the flush fire hydrant is installed underground in a brick or a cast iron chamber. This is either a brick or a cast iron chamber with its top slightly above the street level. Street level is here, slightly above that you have got the top of the fire hydrant. Now obviously when you see these two figures, you can see that fire hydrant can be easily detected, as major portion of the fire hydrant is above the ground. But disadvantage is it is liable to be damaged by children or by traffic, right? So more easily damaged, right? On the other hand, the flush fire hydrant, because it is located underground, it cannot be damaged. It is not easily visible also. And one another disadvantage is whenever a fire occurs, there will be a lot of panic in the area, and you may not be able to find the flush fire hydrant easily in the panicky circumstances during the fire, right? So while as this post fire hydrant, it is easily visible, you can easily see on the road, so it is easily detected even in the panicky atmosphere of the fire. This just to make the flush fire hydrants more easily recognizable, you can attach a plate bearing the letter F and H. F stands for fire, H stands for hydrant. So FH, you can attach a board written FH on it, or on some nearby building or any object, so that you can easily come to know that there is a fire hydrant nearby. And it can also be inscribed on the cover of the fire. There is a cast iron cover, you can see here, there is a cast iron cover. On the cover also the letters F and H can be inscribed, so that anyone who sees it will come to know that there is a fire hydrant inside the chamber, right? These are the two fire hydrants, and the working and all is very simple. Here in this fire hydrant there is a threaded handle here which you can operate and open the valve here. There is a leather valve here which can open, and because the water is always flowing under pressure in the water mains, water will rush out in the hydrant easily. And here there is an outlet pipe here which is connected to a high capacity pumps. Now depending on the requirement, if it is a high rise building, water has to reach second floor or third floor. Depending on that, the pump is used, and the pump is connected here, and water is drawn from the fire hydrant and it is sprayed on the property where the fire has occurred. One small drain valve is also provided here when you finish the operation of the fire hydrant. When the fire comes under control, you can drain the water and clean it, and once again close the valve. So this is how the fire hydrants are going to work. The same thing here, the fire hydrant is inside the chamber, and this is the outlet where the pump is connected, and water is drawn from the water mains here. So this is a very popular question in the exam. Explain with a neat sketch the fire hydrants. So you can explain this. Okay, thank you.